Movies with Ron.
Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Movies with Ron.
Welcome to Movies with Ron, the podcast where my older brother surprises me with a movie he saw because I don't go see him anymore, and he explains the whole thing to me from beginning to end. If you're listening right now, trust me, you'll like his versions better. It's okay if you've seen the movie. It's okay if you haven't seen it. The experience is unique, so just trust me. I'm Chris, your MC for the time being. Here with me is our sound guy, Rick.
Good evening.
And Santa himself, Ron.
Oh, ho, ho. Hey, guys.
Hey, Santa. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas to you two.
Holy shit.
It's our Christmas episode.
Yeah. You know what I imagine? That we have young listeners and who don't mind the cursing. And
We do indeed, actually.
well, sometimes when it's Christmas morning and the kids want to go right out, maybe you have a set of parents that's like, don't come out yet.
Yeah.
You know, this is what they listen to.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because you have to wait and it's just like, fuck. Come on, it's Christmas. Why are they making us wait in our rooms, you know?
Yeah. Go back to sleep.
We gotta finish fucking. Merry Christmas.
I'm not up yet.
And of course, a happy Hanukkah.
And Kwanzaa.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Hey, you know what? Speaking of young listeners who don't mind the cursing,
Yeah.
I got another shout out, guys.
Yeah?
This is going out to Jedwin Janssen in Amsterdam,
Hey.
who is almost 12.
All right.
That's what he always says to his mother.
Hey.
Doesn't call himself 11, says he's almost 12.
Almost 12.
So, Jeroen, thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. So, Rick almost died.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Rick got T-boned by this car. If you're not in America, T-boned is when you pull out and someone slams into the side of your car, basically forming a T.
What else would they call it
I don't know.
elsewhere?
Like, in Germany, it'd be like T-boned. But
Yeah.
so it hit the driver's side.
Right where I was sitting.
Yeah, maybe I'll post a picture on the social media. You guys can see it.
Indeed.
Airbags came off and everything?
The side airbags, not the front one.
Okay.
Just the side one. And to their proficiency, kept all the glass from sprinkling me on the face.
Yeah. And you walked away with only a bum shoulder?
Yeah. Had some bruising, some muscle issue right there. But
Some, like, ligament damage or something?
yeah, nothing that ain't gonna heal.
Right.
But no broken bones.
I see you're having trouble lifting it.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're okay, man.
Yeah, thank you, man.
And I'll be honest, I was trying to think of ways to integrate this into the show, like thinking of best car crashes in movies. And, you know, my mind always goes off on a tangent, and I ended up only fixating on one part of one movie, and it doesn't even involve two cars. It's Brad Pitt. It does involve two cars. When he gets hit by the two cars in Meet Joe Black.
Oh, yeah.
Like, remember that shit?
Oh, God.
Okay, I'm going to put that on the Facebook.
But is that a car crash? That's getting hit by cars.
Right. I'm just saying I got distracted and just remembering that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
how
man.
That movie's like 3 hours long, and it doesn't even set any kind of template. It's like they wanted it to be traumatizing or abrupt, and it ends up being like
Unbelievably.
soft and goofy.
Yeah, comical.
Yeah. It's like, it's fucking foolish.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck?
Well, it flung him around. I mean, he hit the first car, went into the next lane, and got hit by another one. And it was completely out of the blue. You just, what the
Yeah, and it's this weird combination of part of it's CGI, part of it's like a guy on wires, and it's hard to describe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plop.
It kind of ruins the next 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's fucking weird.
You kind of have to look this up, guys. It's crazy.
I'll put it on the Facebook.
That should have been the end of another movie.
He makes it through alive. Kaboom, kaboom.
Yeah. He's finally gonna have a date with the girl. That's what had happened just before he got hit.
Yeah.
He like got her number or some shit.
Yeah. That movie's like a remake of like Death Takes a Holiday. And so that was the moment where death like chose someone to inhabit. Mm-hmm. So he like killed him immediately. Any good people getting hit by cars in movies? I like the one in Conjuring 3 because the girl, or not Conjuring, Insidious 3. The whole movie, the girl is injured because she had that traumatizing.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Let's see. Kick-Ass had a good one where the kid,
Yeah.
he becomes Kick-Ass, like indestructible after having all that metal put in his body because he got stabbed and then staggered out into a street and just gets hit by a car. I don't know.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Well, we've been talking about Christmas movies. Why haven't we talked about Muppet Christmas Carol?
Because it sucks?
It does not suck.
No, I know.
It is
doesn't.
wonderful.
It doesn't suck.
And I came across his article that I posted today, which is nobody is a bigger fan of Michael Caine's Muppet Christmas Carol than Michael Caine.
Oh.
Yeah, he like fondly remembers the experience.
I bet he
wow.
does, man.
Yeah.
I remember him saying like you're nothing but a figment of my imagination. A blob of mustard. Fucking weird ass shit.
He like sings in that movie. Apparently he had never sung before. And everyone was like, not bad.
Yeah.
He's like, I had a duet with Kermit.
Hey, if you're
My
gonna
cocaine.
God, if you're going to have a duet with anybody.
He's like, you have to look him in the eye. When you're in a scene with him, you can't look at the guy whose hand is up his butt.
I remember watching that in Stuttgart with you.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a thing with Beaker? Didn't he flip off?
What?
Beaker flipped off.
With his middle finger?
His middle finger.
Did he have that many fingers?
He has
Three
three.
fingers.
Oh, okay.
Fingers. He has 3 fingers, and the middle one was up. And I think I don't know. I think Michael Caine was throwing him out the door. And he was like, me.
Hey guys, something happened with that movie Collateral Beauty
Yeah.
and its marketing campaign.
Uh-huh.
You know that movie from the trailers. Will Smith, his son dies, and he writes a letter to love and death and
Yeah.
other concepts, and then they come back to him in personified form.
Yes.
All right. I have to quote a movie reviewer. All right. If you've heard about this movie or seen the trailers, you'd think it's about a guy who lost his daughter. Yeah, it was his daughter. And starts to write letters to love, time, and death. Well, okay, so I'm going to tell you exactly what this movie is about. And this is not a spoiler because it happens in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the film. Will Smith writes these letters and his employees hire 3 actors to portray love, time, and death. They approach him on the street, and a private investigator hired by the employees records their conversations so that Edward Norton and the company can then digitally remove love, time, and death and make Smith look crazy because they're afraid they might lose their job since Will Smith is so sad his kid died. Yep. The trailers straight up fucking lied.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and that was all you saw in the trailers?
Yes.
I'm going to be honest, I never saw the trailers, but a lot of other people have.
That is what you saw in the trailers, man.
Yeah, and that happens in the first 20 minutes.
I walked away with like kind of a warm, fuzzy feeling about it. Like I was like, probably won't ever do an episode on it, but I'd still like to see. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
That's fucking bullshit.
With the way they market shit, this case is unique. Like, there was a very sharp backlash, and it's already got, 8% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Ooh.
So it's spoiled as fuck. And it's just some of these marketers, these trailer guys, they need to be punched in the face sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Punch that guy in the face.
Where's the key grip?
Edward Norton's pissed off. He was like, I wasn't in the trailers.
I don't remember him from the trailers, really.
I saw him. He was just kind of like, he's fucked up.
In one sense, I want to like it. Like, they're not
they did
giving
that?
you the whole movie. Like, wasn't I saying that last episode?
Yes.
Yeah, but this isn't
Some guy at the Collateral Beauty company was like, that's all they need to see. That could have been me.
Yeah.
All right. Good job, guy. I might go see it now.
Support him.
Speaking of weird marketing and shit, you know the movie Dunkirk?
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, Gotham.
Dunkirk.
The new
On your feet.
the new Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, I saw a preview to it tonight.
Yeah, I watched it on my phone. It looks good. Looks like cutting edge technology used to make it, and that movie has like a 10-minute prologue,
Yeah.
and it's only being shown in like 30 theaters across America.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's being shown at the big IMAXs, the ones where you got to go to Universal Studios.
That's fucking
if you're nearby
ridiculous,
one.
man.
Yeah, it's like part of the movie. I mean, they're calling it a prologue, so it's like, oh, you don't need to see it.
No,
but
that's stupid.
But only if you spend more money and go to these places. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, that's money. That's all that. God damn it, that pisses me off.
And that's Christopher Nolan doing that shit.
Well, Christopher Nolan is a fucking money machine.
I know. The only reason I'm not totally enraged is because it's just a World War I movie. So
Oh, what are you trying to say there?
I'm
Shots
saying,
fired.
I'm saying been there, done that. But
No, absolutely not. There are World War I movies, but not many at all. That's why he did this. And pretty sure the story of Dunkirk is like a little known story from World War I.
yeah,
I don't know.
there must have been a reason to make a movie
But
about
I gather
it.
from the preview that it's all about this one British, unit
Yeah.
stuck on this beach.
What if it was a Batman movie? I think I'd be more enraged. Like, I'd go picket the streets.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Christopher Nolan's like, hey, you guys, I just had this good idea. How about we film this whole thing and then we only show part of it in like 30 theaters? That would be cool. That's my vision. I don't know what he sounds like, but I imagine he sounds like that.
Yeah, that's all right.
He looks like he sounds like that.
That's my vision.
I need to recommend a movie for people. It's from 1987.
I need to recommend a movie for people.
It's called Raising Arizona.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. It's a Coen Brothers movie, but it's the only movie that I love because that's not what I recognize about it.
Right.
You know, I don't care about their specific awkwardness and skills and how they make these wacky films. This movie is like it's Nicolas Cage
Yeah.
and maybe Holly Hunter, but Nick Cage like made this movie. And I think there's young people listening and all they know is about the Nicolas Cage of nowadays who is in like having tax and debt troubles, so he's doing all of these straight to Netflix kind of movies.
Yeah.
And they're garbage. And he's like melodramatic and really has no skill or however you want to interpret it. Back then, dude, he was a good fucking actor and he was in some good movies, and this is one of them. He basically plays a human cockroach, like one of those guys who can't stop committing crimes, and he's just a drain on society.
Yes.
Yeah, and it humanizes him, and that's the beauty of this movie. I think my favorite part at the beginning, he's committing all these crimes, and it's like a montage, and you see all of his mug shots.
Yeah.
And is Holly Hunter always there?
She's always the one taking the mugshot.
Yeah, and like
Turn to the right.
on like the 6th or 7th, I don't know, crime that he gets busted for, she's like bawling.
Oh, yeah.
And she is just sad as fuck. And that's like his moment where he's
Yeah.
like he like talks to her.
Yeah. He's like, marry me.
But Arizona is the name of their new baby.
Would you buy furniture from a store called Unpainted Huff Hines?
Can we say the baby was kidnapped?
Oh, yes. That baby was kidnapped.
That's part of the
That's
setup.
what that was.
He kidnaps a baby because his wife is barren.
Yes. Her
Yeah.
insides were a rocky place where my seed could not grow.
There ends up being like a Mad Max style bounty hunter after him,
Uh-huh.
and
The Lone Rider.
I love this movie, and so many people love this movie, and it may seem obvious or pointless to people who have seen it that we're recommending it, but I know people haven't seen it nowadays.
And you know what? If you know this movie, chances are it's been about 7 to 10 years since you've seen it, so go watch that again.
Yeah, Raising Arizona. Okay, Ron, I know it's Christmas, and I know this is a seminal episode, so I know you went to see Rogue One.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Rogue One, baby.
Holy shit.
Holy shit, you guys.
Is there anything about the Kessel Run in it?
Negative.
All right. Rick, I remembered some stuff we were talking about.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, this is good, okay? Because in Star Wars, he's like, oh, it makes the Kessel Run in under 12 parsecs. And me and Rick had decided that everyone thinks he's going to win, but there's a guy who does it in under 11. But that's just Han Solo saying it's fucking impressive.
Yeah.
That's all that was.
It turns out he's not the one who won.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
he's
that's
not
cool.
the best.
That's cool.
All right. So you could do this in the later movies. Now that Han Solo's dead, like Anthony Hopkins can show up, and he was the dude who did it in 11. And like he's been. There's been a character.
in 11 seconds. 11 parsecs.
Maybe not Anthony Hopkins, but there's been a character who's even more badass than Han Solo the whole time.
Yeah.
And we just haven't seen him yet.
Turns out it's a big frog man. General Calamari.
Are you talking about that dude with the gills?
Yeah, no, the dude with the big giant fish eyes. At the end.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
Squid head.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah.
I thought it was the dude who's like flying with Lando later. He's like, like he's just so modest. He was
Yeah.
in those movies, and he was the best.
That's why they wanted me.
Remember when he showed up in Venture Brothers?
That was so fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah. Why don't those Venture Brother guys should have a podcast, or they should be on ours?
Yeah.
I hear good things about Darth Vader.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People say that in the original 3 Star Wars movies, like, for good reason, people love Darth Vader. All right? He's really menacing. He kills a couple of his people, the officers that are on his team, you know, but you don't see him do much. Darth Vader has a lot of backstory. And
Yeah.
He's a tragic good guy. And he has his own, like, subculture within the Star Wars culture. And a lot of people don't understand that. And this movie makes you understand that. Like, it adds a whole nother layer to how you fear Darth Vader. That's what I heard about Rogue One.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Like, he's a force of evil.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah.
Guys, this movie Rogue One, okay? I sent a tweet about this earlier. J.J. Abrams should be fucking ashamed of himself for The Force Awakens after seeing Rogue One.
Yeah?
Okay? This movie was fucking great, you guys. This movie is what we wanted when we heard there was going to be a new trilogy. Okay? This movie embodies the fucking heart and the grit of the fucking Star Wars universe. All right? This movie is like, it's nothing but the shit of the fucking Star Wars universe. There's no fucking, oh, the Galactic Senate.
Yeah.
And all the fucking, oh, giant cities and shit.
Yeah.
And, okay, let's talk about The Force Awakens, okay? You know, The Force Awakens had some huge visuals, right? Number one, you got Kylo Ren stopping the fucking blaster bolt, right? That was awesome. Then you got the Star Killer base, okay? Then you got the return of Han Solo and shit, okay? And those are like the draws to that movie, okay? Other than that, guys, what does The Force Awakens really have?
It's just
It's got a
New
bunch
Hope.
of it's got a bunch of gimmicky, you know, new kind of shit.
But that's
Like,
what I...
just new settings. Basically, that's what The Force Awakens was to me, was new backgrounds.
Yeah.
You know, have we seen them fight in the snow yet? Yes, we have, but not in a snowy forest.
I'm compelled to acknowledge, though, that... And I'm not defending J.J. Abrams,
Boy, you better watch your tongue.
but the person who made Rogue One had to answer to no future mythologies, except ones that were already made. It had complete freedom. And J.J. Abrams was kind of... All right.
All right. Well,
I'll take it.
Well, I do want to say to Mr. Abrams, when I saw The Force Awakens, when I was a kid and I first saw the Star Wars movies, they were on VHS, they were recorded. I was in a foreign country. There wasn't much access to a lot of Star Wars toys. So my very first Star Wars little action figure was a stormtrooper. And that's what I started with, and that's kind of all that I had at the time. And with the only thing being a stormtrooper to play with, I kind of made him a good guy.
Yeah.
So in The Force Awakens, when...
Yeah, it's got good parts.
What's that guy's name?
Finn.
When Finn is running out of there in his stormtrooper uniform, I'm like, oh my God, it's my stormtrooper.
Yeah. Your name's Finn? My name's Poe. You want to be best friends?
Yeah, okay, we're best friends.
All right, let's
Hey,
do this.
hey.
Let's go on an adventure.
2 seconds. Story fucking convenience.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's cool that we got a new backdrop. We got a new idea, a new little setting. Oh, how about if we make a stormtrooper a good guy? That is cool. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But the writing was crap, guys. That movie was garbage.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, but I was just felt like throwing that out there
You know,
because it was kind of a personal thing.
The cool thing about Finn being a stormtrooper is that Finn was a stormtrooper. Okay, but his character had fucking nothing to it. All right. The coolest thing about his escape was them escaping and the fucking TIE fighter fucking floating around inside of the fucking hangar and shit. That was cool. Okay. But then right after that, we got that fucking ridiculous dialogue where like these two are supposed to be major fucking characters. That guy fucking Poe Dameron, he's supposed to be a major character. He's shit. He's nothing
Yeah.
in that movie. Okay. He's crap.
Okay. I knew Rogue One was going to have potential. And it reminded me of the Star Wars comic books. Every once in a while, you'd see one of those stories of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Where it's those like minor characters and it's a Twilight Zone version of delving deeper into the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about there being more anthology movies like these.
Hell yeah.
I think
Oh,
there's
yeah.
potential there.
This movie captures the underbelly of all of those Star Wars settings.
Yeah. Like
I loved it.
Star Wars does in recent years looks a little too clean,
Oh man, big time.
and this one dirties it up.
Yeah, really dirties it up. I love it.
Yeah.
And it made me think about the first, episode 4. That was dirty as fuck. You got the cantina, you got fucking Mos Eisley and shit. You got the inside of the Death Star in all of those fucking long hallways with the fucking red light coming up through the grates and shit. All that
Yeah.
like tight confined shit. This was like that. I fucking loved it, man. Holy shit.
Good.
There was no giant palaces with clean marble floors all over the fucking place. Come
Yeah.
on, man. No. All right. Y'all ready for this?
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
All right, here we go. Rogue One on Movies with Ron. All right, so we do start out with the Lucasfilm logo and then the familiar "A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away." And we do not get a fucking Star Wars crawl in this movie.
Sweet.
Thank God, right?
I bet people were mad about that.
They can grow up. All right, so we do see a shot of space, and then it pans down, and we see a little planet, and we get closer to it, and over the top of us, we see a familiar triangle shape, coming over us from above. Okay, but it's not a fucking Star Destroyer like it was in the first one. It's actually the rings of this weird fucking planet. And there's a shadow across them, so it fools you into thinking it's a fucking Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
And then we have one of those 3-winged fucking Imperial shuttles that are flying, they're flying around the movies,
Yeah.
coming down to this planet. It's green and shit. It's a planet with life on it, okay? And then we see this kid looks up, sees the shuttle, and then starts running. She's a little girl, okay? She's running, and then she runs to her home, and her dad is Moss Mikkelsen, okay? By the way, his name is pronounced Moss Mikkelsen.
Really?
Yep, turns out.
It's disappointing.
I know.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh,
All right, so he's her dad, and he saw the shuttle too. So did his wife, and his wife immediately gets on the phone, which is just a view screen on the wall, and calls Forrest Whitaker with his squinky eye.
How'd he do in this movie?
He was pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't in it for as long as you would hope,
Oh, okay.
but for his part, he did wonderful. And she's like, Saw, because his name is Saw whatever, Saw Gerrera.
Forrest Whitaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, oh, God, he found us. He found us, Saw. We need your fucking help, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She gets off the phone. Okay, and Moss is like, he's like, oh, I don't fucking know. He's come for us. He's come for us, Saw. And Saw is like, okay. Okay. And he turns to his daughter, okay, and he's like, Jin, I love you. I love you, Jin. Okay, my little Stardust. That is my name for you, Stardust, okay? So just remember, I'm just trying to protect you. So, okay, now go. And apparently he's had some plan. Like, if the people ever come for us, then you have to run, okay? You have to run away from the house with your mama.
Okay.
So that's what they start to do, all right? And the shuttle lands, and then fucking black armored stormtroopers come out. And it's like, whoa! Fucking black stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, right? I mean, shit. Come on now.
Yeah. This is the first time we've ever seen them?
No.
Nah, I mean, like, well, sort of.
The ones with the hoses?
The ones, no. Those are fucking TIE fighter pilots.
Okay.
Okay? And then you got the assholes in the Death Star that are like the only guys that we only see these guys when they fire the Death Star's laser, and they got like these weird big giant black helmets on for some reason.
Okay.
Okay? But no black stormtroopers. And then there's this dude in a white fucking cape leading them. Okay? And then the little girl's mom looks at the girl and she's like, okay, you just go. Go without me, okay? And trust the Force. Trust the Force. And then the girl runs off. And then Moss goes out to meet the bad guys. Okay? And this dude, okay, the general or whatever his fucking title is, I think he's director of something. He's like, oh, you're so hard to find, Galen. You know, I've been looking for you for many years, but, give me a break. Really? Farming? That's not you, you son of a bitch. And he's like, well, I always wanted to farm. Or some bullshit, I don't fucking know. And he's like, I need you, Galen. Fucking, the work has stalled on the project, and I need you. And he's like, where's your wife? Where's your wife, Lyra? And he's like, oh, Lyra is dead. She died a long time ago. And he's like, oh, okay. And then Lyra, like, shows up. And he's like, with a gun, okay?
Okay.
She came back to, like, help Galen. And he's like, oh, look at that. There's Lyra back from the dead, you lying prick. So he's like, put the gun down, bitch. And she's like, you're never going to win. You're never going to win. And Moss is like, don't do it. Okay, put the gun down, babe. Babe, put the gun down. And the guy's like, you better think about what you're doing. And she's like, you're never going to win. And then he just looks at the black stormtroopers and he's like, do it. And they fucking shoot her. Shoot her dead. Okay?
Shit.
But not before she gets a shot off and hits that guy, the general, in the fucking shoulder or some shit. So then we see the little girl, Jin, and she has run into a cave and opened up a rock and climbed down into a secret bunker that her dad built for her, I guess. And the general guy, whose name is Krennic, he was like, yeah, no, I'm going to take all of you back with me. You're all going to come back and work for the fucking Empire again. So yeah, come on. And that's when the chick showed up with the gun. And so after he gets shot, he's like, there's a child, find the child. And then all the stormtroopers start running around, and they go into the cave, and she's like watching out of a crack, okay? And they, oh, we don't see her, guess we'll go. So they all leave, okay? And Moss Mikkelsen goes with them. So she sits in there, and she's in there for like, I don't know how long, but she's in there for a long time. And then all of a sudden, she hears some footsteps coming. Dung, 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 dung. And then the door up top just opens up. And it's Forrest Whitaker, baby.
Yeah.
He's here. He made it. He's here to save you. So he saves her. And then we get ba-ba-ba, Rogue One, the title card of the movie.
All right.
So then this older girl awakens in a cell, okay? And it is Felicity Jones. She's the star of this movie.
Okay.
It's the girl all grown up?
Yeah.
How long has it been?
I don't know. She's in her 20s somewhere. So she wakes up in a cell, and across from her, sleeping on the other bunk, is like some other weird fucking alien. Okay, just sleeping. And she looks out the door of her cell, and there's just Imperial stormtroopers walking around. And she's like, oh, shit. So it's like, she's in Imperial prison. And then it cuts to this place called the Ring of Kafrene Trade Outpost. And there's this young guy, okay? There's this guy, he's running through the streets. okay, like dirty ass streets, okay, and he meets some jackass in some alley, okay, and he's like, "What? Do you have any news? Is there news from Jeddah?" Which is some planet that happens later in the movie. And he's like, "Yeah, man. Oh my god, I'm gonna get in so much trouble for fucking talking to you, you bitch. Fucking, they're building a new weapon, man." And he's like, "A new weapon? What is it?" He's like, "I don't know, man. It's a fucking planet killer." So he's like, "A fucking planet killer? Oh my god, man. Fucking shit." And he's like, "Yeah, man." And then some fucking stormtroopers walk in and they're like, "Yeah, what's going on here? What's going on here?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing. We're just hanging out, you know." And then he shoots him. Okay. Now this young guy is played by Diego Luna, and he is Cassian Andor. So he shoots them troopers, and then there's this big alert that all the other troopers are coming to get him. And they're like, "Oh shit, we're in a fucking alley. We got to climb out, man." And then the guy that he was talking to is like, "My arm's all fucked up. I can't fucking climb out." And he's like, "Just chill, man. Just chill. Okay, calm down. We're gonna get out of this. It's fine." And he gets up real close to him and he fucking shoots him dead, like right in his gut.
Mm.
Fucking crazy, right?
Jesus.
Now that, I'm sorry guys, Han Solo has been very romanticized over the years. That is what the original Han Solo would have done.
Totally.
Yeah. Cut loose the dead weight. That's what he did. So then we cut to an Imperial moon called Jeddah, all right? And there's this dude in there meeting with some weirdo rebels in the desert, okay? And he's played by Riz Ahmed, and he's playing a character called Bodhi. And he's like, I need to speak to Saw. I need to speak to him. So, you know, fucking let me talk to him. And the weird alien is like, okay, fucking take him. And they put a fucking bag over his head and then they just kidnap him. All right. And then it cuts to the girl, Jin, in some weird transport. Okay. Like a tank or whatever. And there's a couple other prisoners in there with her and shit. And then these other assholes fucking shoot everybody and then they break into it and they break her out. And they're like, "Hey, you want to get out of here?" And she's like, "Yeah, man, fuck yeah." So then they unlock her shit, and then she just beats the shit out of them and fucking leaves. Like, fuck that, I ain't going with you. I don't know who you are. And then she gets outside, and she is about to run away when she gets fucking caught immediately by this big fucking, like, 8-foot-tall fucking robot, okay? Which is the droid of this movie, all right? He's pretty fucking cool looking, too. He is voiced by the one and only Alan Tudyk.
All right.
All right, man, right? Fucking perfect. This droid's name is K2SO, and they just call him K a bunch of times in the movie. So then they take her to Yavin 4. Do you know what that is? That's where they had all the Alliance meetings and shit with the fucking hologram of the Death Star and shit in the first movies.
Yeah.
Where that weird lady with the red hair is like, "Oh, okay, all of you single guys."
Yeah.
And they're talking to her, and they're like, "Ah, yeah, you know, you say your name is whatever such and such, but you know, we know that you're really Jyn Erso, and you're the daughter of Galen Erso, who's a known collaborator of the fucking Empire." And she's like, "Oh shit." And then they're like, "You know what? Where's your fucking father? Okay, because we fucking want him." And she's like, "I like to think he's dead." And there's this other little guy who's like, "Yeah, well, how about Saw? How about Saw Gerrera? You know, yeah, he's your buddy too. You know, we'd like him as well." And she's like, "I don't fucking know. They're like, he's a rebel. You guys are rebels. Aren't you all rebels? Aren't you guys all friends?" And they're like, "Yeah, but Saw is a fucking extremist." Okay, like Saw, it turns out, is the Osama bin Laden of the Rebel Alliance.
Oh, wow.
Fucking lives in a cave in the desert and shit and fucking does shit the Alliance wouldn't do. Okay? And they're like, "We really need to find your father. So we figured if we find you, then you can find Saw. And then Saw can find your father. And we can bring him to the Senate to testify. All right? Because we got some fucking intelligence that there's a new weapon and shit, so he'll be able to tell us about it." And she's like, "Yeah, well, I mean, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll fucking help you." So they decide that she's going to go with Cassian and look for Saw. Now, the droid, K2SO, he is the Chewbacca to Cassian's Han Solo, all right?
Okay.
He's his pilot and co-pilot and bullshit. And he's like sitting there talking to her there in the ship. And he's like, "Yeah, you know," and he talks like a man, all right?
Wow.
Doesn't talk like a fucking robot. And he's like, "Yeah, I think this is a really, really fucking bad idea, bringing you along, okay? But, and so does Cassian. But what do I know? I'm just a fucking droid. Who cares? And then the guy is like, Cassian's like, yeah, sorry. He has a tendency to just speak whatever's on his robot mind. It's a byproduct of the reprogramming because he is actually an ex-Imperial droid. And he's even got the Imperial logo on his shoulder. Mm-hmm. And then Kay is like, why does she get to have a blaster and I don't? And then the guy looks around and he's like, she's got a fucking blaster in her hand. Okay, she was a fucking prisoner. And he's like, where the fuck did you get that? And she's like, I found it. And he's like, give it to me. And she's like, fuck you. We're going to a war zone, man. Like, come on, trust works both ways, baby. And he's like, yeah, okay, I guess. And then he goes and he sits down in the pilot's chair. And K2 looks at him and goes, you're letting her keep it? Okay. Do you want to know the probability that she's going to use it against you? And he's just like looking at him. And the droid's just like, okay, all right. Wow. And they're about to fly away, and he just turns to him and he goes, it's high. It's high. So then we cut to Bodhi being brought to Saw in his fucking desert cave. And he's like, yeah, man, I had to fucking bring this message to you from Galen Erso. Okay? He's alive, and he wanted you to have this message. So here you go. And he gives him this little data block, all right? And then fucking Saw, who now has like robot feet, and fucking he has to keep like breathing through this oxygen mask and shit. He's all fucked up looking because now it's like 20 years older or some shit. Mm-hmm. And he's like, lies, more lies. And that's what fucking Forrest Whitaker sounds like in this movie. Like, it's more Imperial lies. It's bullshit. And he's like, no, man, he told me to find you. And he's like, and then Forrest Whitaker just says some word like Mobutu or some shit. And he's like, Mobutu? And then they fucking take him away. All right. This comes into play in a minute. So then we cut to some fucking Star Destroyers in space. All right. Some real fucking Imperial bullshit going on. And they are parked outside of the fucking Death Star as it is being constructed. All right. And the part that is being put onto it right now is that crater part where all the laser shit comes out of it.
Oh, that satellite?
Yeah, the satellite dish that's like embedded into it. Ah. All right. They're like moving that into place. And fucking Director Krennic is in there, and he walks in to go talk to his boss, and we see his boss from the back, okay, from behind. And we see he's got a familiar shape to him, okay? And it is, this shape. It's fucking General Tarkin from the original trilogy, all right? Uh-huh. The old man who was like telling Darth Vader, your old sorcerer's ways and blah, 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 in his fucking gray uniform and shit. Motherfucker turns around. It is General Tarkin, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking 100% digitally recreated and voiced by some other dude, and he looks fucking perfect.
Wow. Really?
It is so well done, you guys. This is fucking unbelievable. And he has a major role in this movie.
Wow. Really?
He talks a bunch of times, and he is very well done. I'm telling you, this is the best person recreation I have ever seen.
Why would they do that?
Oh, man.
To fucking make them blend. It's fucking great. You know what? Fuck you. It blended.
All right.
So he's like, yeah, there's fucking been delays in the fucking Death Star bullshit. So, what we need to do is we need to test the weapon. All right? So, Director Krennic is like, yeah, okay, I guess we will. So then we get some beauty shots of them installing the satellite and shit. And then Jyn is having flashbacks of the old days when Maz Mikkelsen was in his Imperial gray uniform with the weird little buttons on the shoulder lapel.
Yeah.
And he's like talking to the generals and shit, and like back when he was a fucking member of the Empire before he quit to become a farmer. Mm-hmm. And then we get some shots of her mother giving her necklace, which is this weird little crystal, telling her to trust the Force just before she left him. And then everybody died. So they arrive on Jedha, which is a fucking stony desert place, okay? There has to be a stony desert planet in every Star Wars movie, right?
Yeah.
So this is this one, all right? And they're looking at these big old ruins, okay? And this is the capital city of this planet, Jedha City. And they're like, man, what? And there's a big fucking Star Destroyer hovering above it, okay? And they're like, oh man, what's going on here? And there's these shuttles that are bringing stuff up to it and stuff. And they're like, yeah, they're mining kyber crystals. Okay. Now any Star Wars fucking nerd knows that, and I say that term lovingly, but knows that those are the crystals that power lightsabers. Okay. Now why is the Empire mining them? Because those are what powers the fucking Death Star laser.
Oh.
Man.
Yeah. So Cassian and Jin are about to go into the city, and then the droid is like coming with them. And Jin is like, whoa, 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 you can't come. You can't fucking blend in. And he's like, I can blend in, bitch. All right? Fucking, screw you. I'm a fucking Imperial droid. You know? And she's like, yeah, but half the people here want to kill you, and then the other half want to fucking reprogram you, and I just don't want anybody shooting at you. And he's like, I'm pretty surprised that you're worried about me. She's like, no, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried that they're going to miss you and hit me. And so then he goes, that doesn't sound so bad. And then she fucking puts her backpack in his hands and she leaves like, you stay with the ship. And then they both leave. And then the droid is just standing there with her backpack in his hands. And then he just fucking drops it on the ground. Like, fuck you. And he stays in the ship. So then Saw, we see him again. It cuts to him with the pilot Bodhi. And that Mogutu thing that he said. He's like, Mogutu, this is Mogutu. And then it shows Mogutu. And it's like this big giant blobby fucking alien with tentacles and shit that he keeps in his base. And he's like, he's a psychic alien and he's gonna see if you're lying or not, bitch. And then it's it starts putting its tentacles up into the fucking pilot's ears and shit. And he's like, so if you're gonna tell me the truth, you got anything to say it now, bitch. And then Mogutu's like, and he's like, oh god. So then it cuts to Cass and Jin, and they're running through the dirty fucking alleys and the streets of this fucking Jeddah city, okay? And they bump into these two assholes, and this one asshole fucking turns around to Jin, who bumped into him, and he's like, hey, you fucking bitch, blah, blah, blah. And then we see who it is. It's the two assholes from the cantina.
Really?
That fucking Luke bumped into. And the guy with a weird eye is like, you'll be dead.
Yeah.
And then his weird friend who doesn't speak English, blah, 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 blah. They were together on Jeddah. Okay?
Sweet.
Wow.
That's cool.
And so she bumps into him. The guy's like, rah, 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 rah. And she's like, oh, no, we don't want any trouble. Okay, just like Luke said. Guys, I could probably do a whole fucking show just about shit that you saw in the background of this movie. It's fucking cool, man. All right?
Really?
But that's one of the major fucking Easter eggs right there. That was my favorite. So they're just wandering through the streets and shit, and then Jin hears this guy, and he's like, yeah, you can hear your future for that necklace. And she's looking around, and she's like, what the hell's going on? And then she sees this Asian dude who's he's like a bum in the streets, right? And he's not even looking at her, and he's like, yes, I'm talking to you. She goes over to him, and he's like, yes, that necklace you're wearing, do you know what a kyber crystal is? And she's like, no, how do you know I'm wearing a necklace? Because she's wearing all this shit. You can't see the necklace. Mm-hmm. And you see now that guy is blind. And he is played by Donnie Yen. He's playing a character called Chirrut, who's got a buddy named Malbus. Chirrut is this blind, like a fucking Zatoichi blind swordsman type guy.
Mm-hmm.
And his buddy Malbus is his friend who walks around with a giant fucking gun that has some fucking ammo belt fed from a fucking backpack, okay? He is like Mr. Gun.
Yeah.
All right? When I was committing this movie to memory, I was calling Chirrut, I was calling him Blind Guy, and I was calling the other guy Gun. So then Cassian pulls her aside, and he's like, yeah, hey, fuck those guys. Those are old fucking protectors of the Kyber Temple and shit. And so they're looking for Saw, and they see this shipment coming through the city, and it's guarded by all the fucking stormtroopers and shit. It's obviously a shipment of kyber crystals, all right? And then all of a sudden it gets ambushed by all these fucking rebels in the streets and shit, all right? You see fucking details on all these guys. One of them is this tiny fucking little dwarfish little alien guy. It's really cool looking and shit. It's this movie has that shit in the background, minor characters that are different species and stuff that you take note of, all right? The original trilogy had that. Little minor characters from the background that they had fucking figures of, and when they made the toys and everything. But we never even knew their fucking names in the movies or anything. This movie is just like that shit. I fucking love it. So they have this big battle with the stormtroopers over this crystal shipment, and then Jin is like, "Yeah, I think we found Saw's rebels." So there's all this firefight going on, and then there's this little child fucking crying in the middle of all the chaos, and she is about to get killed. So Jin fucking runs out there and saves her. Okay, but then she's stuck because the little girl's mom comes and gets her. So then she's stuck, and then the fucking Empire's like, "Yeah, shoot that building down. Fuck it, kill everybody." So that shit falls, and then they think, she's dead and shit. They end up helping the rebels a little bit and fighting off the stormtroopers. And then the rebels take the crystals. And at that point, walking into frame from around the corner is one of those weird fucking two-legged walkers that we saw on the Battle of Endor.
Yeah.
Okay, right there in the fucking dusty old city. Fucking crazy. And it's fucking shooting everybody and shit. And everybody's fucking going crazy and shit. Fucking Jin is kicking some ass. All right, she's a little ass kicker. Beating people up, shooting them and shit. It's fucking cool. Then she turns around. She sees the droid fucking K2 and just fucking blows him away. Right in the fucking chest. He fucking goes down.
What?
And then behind him is another droid that looks like K2. And he walks up and he looks down at the droid that she just shot. And he looks back up at her and he goes, "Did you know that wasn't me?" And she's like, "Yeah, totally." Anyway, those two end up getting taken prisoner by the stormtroopers, okay? While that's happening, the droid, who is an Imperial droid, he's like, "Yeah, I'm taking these two to the prison." And they're like, "Yeah, so it's okay. You can give them to us now." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm going to take them. I can take them. It's fine." He's a fucking droid talking to these stormtroopers like that shit. And they're like, no, we'll take them now, but you need to go in for a diagnostic. He's like, "I can run my own diagnostic. Fuck you." And then they figure out, oh, something's wrong here. And then you just hear the fucking blind guy. And he just goes, "Let them pass. Let them pass in peace." And everybody looks around at him and he's like, "The Force is with me." And he fucking walks out in the middle of these stormtroopers and he just starts kicking all of their asses. All right? Yeah. And all he has for a weapon is a fucking stick. And he is the fucking Yoda of all of this fucking movie. He's like doing all this fucking flippy kick shit, all right? Mm-hmm. Doing all the impossible gymnastic fighting. Kicks all their asses. And at one point, he fucking like takes his stick and he jabs it into the foot of one of these fucking stormtroopers. And immediately he goes, "Is your foot all right?" And then like whacks him in the face. It's like it puts a little comedy into it. It's really good. Really, really well done. So at that point, there's no more stormtroopers left. Okay, standing anyway. And then Kay goes, "Clear of hostiles." And then the blind dude's friend shows up and he points a gun at them. And then the droid just goes, "One more hostile. One more." And they're like, no, it's cool. It's cool. We're all friends here. And they're like, "What? You said the Force, Are you a Jedi?" And he's like, "No, there's no more Jedi here." But you can tell, like, he might be a fucking Jedi.
Yeah.
So then the rebels that were attacking the shipment, those extremists, they take all of them prisoner. Okay? And they're putting bags over their heads and shit. They even put one over the blind guy's head, who then yells out, "Are you kidding me? I'm blind!" So they take him to Saw's base. Jin is then taken into Saw. Okay? And he's like, "Oh, God, is it really you? It's Jin, is it you?" And she's like, "Yeah, fuck you, motherfucker." And you're like, "Whoa, what the hell's going on here? I thought he raised her." And she's like, "You fucking left me behind. I was like one of the best members of your fucking crew. I was one of your awesome terrorists.
Yeah.
Okay, you fucking left me behind on that moon or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, you were 16, but people were starting to figure out who you were. And they wanted to use you as a hostage because you were the daughter of a prominent Empire weapon specialist, inventor and shit. So I had to just like leave you alone so that you could be safe." So he abandoned her to save her because he was all busy being Osama bin Laden. Okay, things were getting too tough. And he's like, "Oh yes, and now today of all days I see you and I just got a message and I think it's a trap." And she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "Did they send you to kill me?" Like, he's like, maybe losing his mind a little bit, all right? And then she's like, "No, man, the Alliance wants my father, and they want you to help. So now I have just introduced you guys, all right? The Alliance, there's an Alliance guy in your prison there, And I'm done. So I'm leaving. And he's like, "You don't care about the cause?" And she's like, "Nope." And he's like, "You don't care that really? You don't care that the fucking Imperial flag is flying over whatever planet you're on?" And she's like, "I can't see it if I don't look up." And it's like, oh, she's resigned to being a street rat. Okay. So then Saw's like, "I need to show you something. All right, so come here."
Are you drunk?
Well, I'm not drunk, but I'm getting there. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it's Christmas, all right? So the fireball is flowing.
Yeah.
Here, you want to take one? Let's do this.
We're wheezing the juice.
No, wheezing the juice.
That was the same actor from
From what?
Mr. Deeds. And they bonded over, like, softies from Wendy's.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah. I made it at home, and it just wasn't the same.
Yeah. Is that what they're called? Softies?
Frosties.
Frosties, okay. I tried to make it at home, but it just wasn't the same. So then we cut to General Tarkin, okay? And he's talking to fucking Krennic, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, fucking, we need to test this laser, we're gonna fucking go to Jeddah, and, we're gonna, we don't need to destroy the whole planet. We're just gonna target that one city, all right?" And then Krennic's like, yeah, okay, cool. So then they cut to in Saw's jail, all right? And then there's Cassian and the blind dude and his gun friend and shit. And in the cell next to them is this weird pilot, okay? The pilot, Bodhi. And he's like kind of lost his mind from that psychic Mobutu fucking alien thing. Fucking Cassian is like, "Yeah, hey, do you know where Galen Erso is? I'm fucking looking for him, man. And I heard that you're the guy that got sent, to deliver his message and shit." And he's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's me. I did know Galen. I'm fucking crazy now. Fuck it, I don't fucking know. Then we cut to Saw and Jin, and he's showing her the message that he got from this pilot. And it's a fucking hologram message of Mos Mikkelsen, okay? And it's just like the old holograms, but it's not tiny. It's huge, and it's life-size.
Hey, now, there's nothing with lightsabers that's happened yet, right?
Lightsabers do not appear until 2 hours into this movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, which makes it very momentous when it does. But for now, the message. So Mos Mikkelsen is in this holo message, and he's like, "Fucking talking to Saw, okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, fucking Saw, okay, this message is for you. I'm sending it with my pilot, Bodhi, okay? And, I just wanted to tell you that I can explain myself, okay? I know I'm working for the Empire again. Okay, I totally am. All right, that's true. I'm sorry. But, I'm hoping that you can get in touch with Jin, okay, my daughter, my little Stardust, okay? Now, Jin, all right, I love you. Okay, I promise I'm not an asshole, and I got reasons for doing this shit, okay? When your mother was killed, all right, and then, you were alone, and I had to go with them. I chose to go with them, and I chose to lie to them, all right? I chose to act like a grieving father who just resigned himself to his work, okay? So that way they would never fucking look for you, because even if I died fucking fighting them, then they would still fucking build this bullshit, okay? But if I was involved, I could do what I did. And what I did, baby, was I put a fucking weakness in the Death Star.
Oh,
all right? I built a fucking trap into it. Now, all you need to know is that the main reactor for the Death Star, okay? I built it so that if a single fucking contained explosion happens at the fucking reactor, it starts a chain reaction that will destroy the entire fucking thing. So basically, all you got to do is shoot a couple of torpedoes down that little hole. You blow the whole thing up. He did that on purpose, all right?
Yeah, all right.
To make it easy to destroy.
Used to do that with Womp Rats on my T-16.
Fuck yeah.
That was always something I criticized about the first one.
What?
How
The
easy
ease?
it was to kill the Death Star.
Well, here you go.
Yeah, that's all right.
Bravo, Garrett Edwards. So as he's explaining about the weakness of the Death Star shows up over fucking Jeddah, okay, and then it fires onto fucking Jeddah City, and we see all those weird motherfuckers in the fucking control room with those big black helmets and shit, and they're pushing all those fucking red buttons and shit. All those fucking green laser beams converge into one, and then it shoots down at the city, and it fucking blows that city to shit. All right? And it's like a fucking nuclear bomb went off. All right? Whole city is just gone. All right? And it's a fucking giant explosion. And then watching it from space in the Death Star is General Tarkin and Krennic. And they're fucking looking at it, and then there's this giant fucking shockwave on the planet going, moving farther out and farther out away from the fucking city. And it's huge. And it's so huge on this planet, it's probably like fucking 20 nuclear bombs, all right? Now, they didn't blow the planet up, okay, but they're fucking it over. And it turns out that there's a lot of fan theories that say that this planet is the one that they chose to turn into Starkiller Base for The Force Awakens. Probably no one will ever know that, or whatever, until somebody writes that into some other bullshit.
Okay.
So, obviously the whole planet is shaken, though, because it's a pretty serious blast, and way out in the desert, Saw's base is starting to shake and fucking fall apart and shit, his cave. And fucking explosion is spreading and shit, and then everybody, they've all escaped the jail because Cassian is a badass, and he's like picking the lock on the cell and shit, and they all fucking get out. K2, he flies in with the ship, and he's like, yeah, okay, everybody get on the ship, let's go. Everybody's gonna die. And then, so they're all getting on there, and then Saw just fucking looks at Jin, and he's like, go, save yourself, save the dream. And then she's like, oh shit, you're not coming with, oh, okay. So she gets on the ship, and then they fucking fly away. They fly away from fucking Forrest Whitaker, and he just like resigns himself to sit there and stare at the fucking wall of fire that's coming towards him, and then it hits him, and then he's gone. So then there's this big fucking harrowing escape of the droid piloting the ship through all this fucking falling debris and all this smoke from the blast and everything. And then they fucking just about fucking make it out of the explosion when Cassian is like, oh, fucking hit it, man. Hit it. Go to hyperspace. And then the droid is like, I haven't completed my calculations yet. And Cassian's like, I'll do it for you. And he just hits it. And then they just shoot off into hyperspace. And then in that shot, we see from the Death Star's point of view, and it's just the planet. And there's this giant fucking explosion on it that's like going way up into the atmosphere and shit. And we just see this single blue line pew, go away from the explosion. And now, in retrospect, I feel like we should have seen two because of those two assholes from the cantina. Obviously, they escaped it too, right? But it's cool. I forgive it. And then in the Death Star, Krennic is like, yeah, see? My fucking Death Star. All right? It's fucking kick-ass shit, right? And Tarkin is like, yeah, okay. All right, I'll give it to you. This is a pretty awesome fucking Death Star you made here. All right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it over. All right? And, fuck you. It's mine now. And he's like, yeah, but you're going to tell the Emperor that I succeeded, right? And he's like, I'll tell it was a success, but I really don't think you're fit for service anymore because you had so many security breaches. I heard that you let a pilot escape with some message about it, So fuck you. And then Krennic is like, you son of a bitch! So he's like, Tarkin has taken over the Death Star and he's fucking Krennic over for the credit.
Mm-hmm.
And Tarkin was like, yeah, I heard your pilot came from Galen's facility on Edo. So, you might want to tighten up your security, bitch, before you get fired. So it cuts to the Alliance and they're like, oh, dude, the fucking planet that we just sent Cassian and Jin to, it just got fucking blown up, so they're probably dead. We can't talk to them. We're going to have to find Galen and kill him ourselves. The fucking Alliance, okay? They're the ones that wanted Galen to come and testify with the Galactic Senate and everything. Turns out they just want him dead.
Yeah?
Yeah, so they fucking lied to Jin, okay? The rebels lied to Jin. They just want to fucking kill Galen so that he can, stop making big, powerful weapons for the fucking Empire. He's just a high-value target to them. That's all he is.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Jin and Cassian. And she's like, yeah, totally. Oh, dude, oh my God, I just saw the fucking message from my dad, okay? He's not evil, okay? Turns out he fucking built a fucking trap into the Death Star and everything's going to be fine, dude. And he's like, you do have proof, right? You have that message that I can take back to the Alliance? And she's like, whoa, everything happened so suddenly, I don't. And he's like, well, fuck that shit. So then she's like, okay, fine. You know what? Then we're going to fucking find him and we're going to bring him back to the Alliance and he's going to tell him himself. And he's like, yeah, okay. So then they go to this planet, Eidos, or Edo, where his facility is, okay? And they're flying down into it, okay? And it's all nighttime and shit. And it's all stormy and foggy and shit. And they're fucking piloting the ship through all this fucking rain and fog and then around all these cliffs and shit. And it's all fucking dangerous looking. K2 is like, whose specialty is actually just calculating the odds for battle and strategy and shit. And he's like, we only have a 29% chance of success before we fail or whatever. And then the pilot is like, yeah, no, it's cool, we're almost there. And he's like, okay, 36%. Shit ends up getting too rough, and they end up fucking crashing. Okay, they crash the goddamn ship right into this fucking planet. And they decide that, okay, we're going to send out, it's just going to be Bodhi and me, Cassian. We're just going to go by ourselves, okay? And Jin is like, yeah, no, I need to go too. I want to see my dad. And he's like, no, because if you die and he dies, then fuck it, everything's fucked, all right? So you need to survive. So you're going to stay back here. So then only Bodhi and Cassian go. After they leave, Jin is like, fuck them, I'm going. So she fucking leaves, all right? But just before she leaves, the blind guy looks at his friend and he's like, does Cassian look like a killer? And his friend is like, no, he looks like a pretty good guy. And then Jin is like, what do you mean? Why? And then the blind guy is like, well, because the Force acts strangely around people that, it moves darkly around people that are about to kill. And then Jin is like, oh shit, he's about to kill my dad. So she's like, fuck you, I'm leaving. I'm going after him to stop him. So then she leaves too. So they're sneaking up to the lab. All right? And at that point, the blind guy decides to leave as well. He's like, fuck it, I'm going too. Okay, and then his gun friend is like, hey man, what the fuck? You fucking fuck you. Where do you think you're going? And he's like, yeah, no, it's cool. I'm just going to go check things out. He's like, yeah, well, good luck. He's like, I don't need luck. I have you. So now the gun guy has to go with him and like look after him. And then it's just the fucking droid. And the droid is like, what the fuck? So now Cassian and Bodhi are looking at the lab through binoculars and shit, and then they end up seeing Galen. And he's like meeting with some Imperial guys, and he's in his uniform, his Imperial uniform, Maz Mikkelsen. And he tells Bodhi to go ahead and go back to the ship. I got it from here. And he fucking pulls out a rifle and has got him in his sights and shit. And at that point, Krennic's shuttle arrives overhead. This fucking big black fucking 3-winged shuttle. Okay, it shows up, and then he gets out and he's talking to Galen, and he's like, yeah, congratulations on the Death Star, man. It is a success. We just destroyed a bunch of shit with it, so you must be very proud. So I want you to gather all your engineers over here, and we're going to have a talk with them. Then all of his engineers are in a big line, and he's like, so one of you is a fucking traitor and sent a fucking message out about the fucking Death Star, and whoever it is better just step forward now so we can kill you, or I'm going to kill all of you. Nobody says anything. All of them are like, what the fuck, man? We're just doing our jobs. And then he's like, okay, fuck it, kill them all. And then Maz Mikkelsen is like, all right, fine, it's me. It was me the whole time, bitch. And he's like, it's fine, just spare them. And then Krennic is like, oh, okay, it was you? Yeah, that's cool. All right, kill all of them anyway. And then all of them just fucking get shot. Maz Mikkelsen is all like grief-stricken and shit. And then...
he's not shot.
No, he's not shot.
Okay.
Because Krennic was like, oh, it was you? Well, come here for a second. Come here. Come up and talk to me. And then he tells his buddies to shoot everybody. At that point, Cassian sees Jin fucking sneaking into the lab. She's already made it past him and is going in to save her fucking father. So then he's like, oh, shit. So he doesn't shoot or anything like that. And then he gets a message from the droid, K2, and he's like, the Alliance has a squadron on the way because they figured we were all dead and they decided to kill Galen themselves. And he's like, holy shit, no, Jin is in there. Jin is there, so tell them to hold off, okay? So then the droid is like, talking to the Alliance. Okay, you guys better hold off. Okay, Cassian says, stop. And then they're like, oh God, they're already in play. It's too late. And then that is when we get that awesome shot from the fucking previews of all of those fucking X-Wings flying in over the water and shit. And there is a fucking squadron of X-Wings fucking descending on this fucking laboratory facility, and they are coming in fucking no holds barred, badass, just fucking here to lay waste to some motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So they attack, all right? Everything's starting to fucking explode. Jin sees that everything is getting fucked, and she just decides to scream to Mats Mikkelsen, and she's like, "Father!" He looks over and he sees her. He's like, "Holy shit, it's my daughter." Yeah. And then Krennic looks over and he's like, "Holy shit, that's your daughter." And then one of the X-Wings drops a fucking bomb right on him. Boom! Everybody flies to the side. All right. At that point, the lab is actually equipped with some TIE fighters, and they start coming out, all right, to fight these X-Wings and shit. And they're chasing the X-Wings and everything. Okay, all right. And at this point, the fucking blind guy, Sharut, all right, he's like fucking just standing there, and his eyes are all white, okay, because he's blind and everything. And then he just like picks up his stick, and then he like fucking flicks a switch and flips his stick, and it turns into a giant fucking bow. All right, but it's one of those other bows like Chewbacca's crossbow. It's a crossbow, but it shoots lasers.
Okay.
All right, that's what his bow does. And then he like points his bow, and he's not even looking at what he's gonna shoot at. Okay, he's just like listening. He points his ear towards it. There's an X-Wing that flies by, and then there's a TIE fighter, and he fucking fires his bow. It hits the fucking TIE fighter, and then the TIE fighter crashes into the fucking lab and blows everything up. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, this fucking blind guy, badass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Krennic fucking runs for his life, gets back into his shuttle and leaves. So then Jin finds Mats Mikkelsen, and he's dying, but he's not dead yet. It is Star Wars, okay? Everybody has last words before they die.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh shit, it's me, I'm dying." And she's like, Papa, it's me. And he's like, "Oh, my little Stardust. Oh, my little Stardust." It's very important that his nickname for her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I've seen your message, okay?" And he's like, yeah, totally. The Death Star's got to be destroyed. All right, you got to do it, baby. You got to do it. She's like, we will. The Rebel Alliance will. I'm part of them now. And he's like, "Yeah, oh man, look at you. You know what? I have so much to tell you." And then he dies. So then stormtroopers come in, and they, they're going to fucking take him prisoner and shit, so they all got to leave. And they're leaving, and they're getting chased and shit. And then the pilot, like Bodhi, he pilots the ship up, and he's like shooting fucking stormtroopers and shit. All right, and then fucking K2 looks at him. He's like, "Oh, nicely done. You are a rebel now. All right, there's no going back." So they all escape. And then Jin is looking at Cassie, and she's like, "You fucking lied to me, asshole. You were here to fucking kill my dad. So fuck you. You said we were going to take him back to the fucking Senate and testify." And he's like, "You're in shock." She's like, "Fucking deny it, asshole. Go ahead and deny it." And he's like, "You are in shock, and you're looking for a place to fucking aim it at. I've seen this before, so fuck you." She's like, "Bitch, you fucking lied to me." And everybody else is like, yeah, you lied, bitch. You lied. And he's like, "Fuck you. I had orders." She's like, "You might as well be a stormtrooper, asshole." And he's like, "Oh, you bitch." And she's like, "You can't talk your way out of this." And he's like, "I'm just like you. I've lost everything. I just decided to do something about it." And she's like, "Go to hell." And then he like looks around and he's like, Anybody else want to bitch at me? Fuck you." All right, guys, so here we go. Here's an important scene. Now we got the black shuttle flying over this weird fucking planet with all this fucking lava on it and shit, okay? And it's flying over this fucking river of lava, and then it fucking comes up over this ridge, and then we see this giant fucking tall temple, okay? And that is where the fucking lava is flowing from. There's a goddamn pipe coming out of the side of this temple, and there's fucking lava flowing out of it, all right? This fucking shuttle lands at it, and, fucking Krennic walks out, and he walks up to this fucking weird fucking black-robed figure. Okay, you only see the black-robed figure from behind, all right? And you're like, holy shit, it's the Emperor, right? Uh-huh. And then it turns out it's not the Emperor. This black-robed figure, but it's definitely, like, meant to make you think, Yeah. You're like, well, he hobbles into this weird fucking he goes through this palace, and he walks into this weird room. In this room is a giant fucking tank, a big medical fucking recovery tank that we saw Luke Skywalker in. Okay, remember? And then the guy just looks up and he goes, "My lord, Director Krennic is here to talk to you." And then all of a sudden, the liquid just starts draining out of the tank. And then we see that there is a fucking man inside. We don't see him very clearly, okay? But it's like, holy shit, is fucking Darth Vader out of his suit in the fucking recovery tank. And then the fucking liquid starts to drain away, and then we just cut to Krennic. And he's like out in some fucking room waiting and shit. And then the fucking door opens up. And there's all this fucking light and smoke and shit. And then out of the light and smoke walks Darth Vader. Yeah. And he walks up to fucking Krennic. And he's like, "Director Krennic." Krennic's like, "Yeah, Lord Vader. My lord."
Is he in clothes?
Yeah, he's in his fucking Vader suit.
Okay.
So then he's like, "You have a great many things to explain." And he's like, "Yeah, sorry, there was a security breach. I know that." And he's like, "Yes, and your security breach led to fucking bullshit, and now there's a fucking rebel alliance and shit, and, they think they have plans to the Death Star and everything. So that's your fault, asshole." And he's like, yeah, I guess I don't know what to do." And then Vader is like, "I am going to talk to the Emperor, and I'm going to tell him that there is no fucking problem." "All right? As far as the rebels know, there is no Death Star, and you're going to lie about the security breach with Galen. All right? So everything's just going to be swept under the rug. I'm fucking Darth Vader, and I got everything under control." So he's walking away, and then fucking Krennic is like, wait, so so I'm still in command of the Death Star? I'm not in trouble? And then he starts fucking choking. He starts fucking choking. All right? Like, out of nowhere. And fucking Darth Vader is not even facing him. Darth Vader was already walking away.
Yeah.
All right? He's fucking choking, and he's fucking on the ground, gasping for breath. And then Darth Vader turns around slightly, and he says, "Don't choke on your aspirations, Director Krennic." And he's like, oh God, okay.
Is it James Earl Jones?
It is fucking James Earl Jones.
Wow, man.
He came back to voice him.
Hell yeah.
I did not know he was still alive, guys. It is absolutely James Earl Jones.
He probably sits in a tank, keeping himself alive.
So then we cut to another Alliance meeting in the fucking war room at the fucking rebel base on Yavin 4. And they're all fighting, and they're all like, "We're all fucked." And they're like, "Holy shit, everything's fucked. The fucking Death Star, it destroyed that city. Everybody's gonna fucking die. Why are we even doing this, you guys? We are fucked." And then Bail Organa shows up. You know who that is? That's fucking Princess Leia's dad. He was in the fucking prequels.
Uh-huh.
All right? He's the only survivor other than fucking Yoda and Obi-Wan from the prequels. And Darth Vader, obviously. Played by Jimmy Smits.
Oh, okay.
And Jyn is there, and she's like, "No, man, fuck it, let's fight. There's a fucking weakness to the Death Star. It's all good, you guys." And some people believe her, some people don't. And that redheaded bitch is like, because we're not in agreement, we are a council here. Everybody doesn't agree with you, so we're not gonna fight. And she's like, "Bitch." Fucking Jyn. And this other lady's like, "So you want to fucking invade some fucking Imperial installation to fucking capture the Death Star plans based on fucking hope?" And then Jyn looks around and she's like, "Rebellions are built on hope, aren't they?" And everybody's like, "Oh God, she got us." And then she just leaves. Like, fuck it, you guys are useless. As she's leaving, she runs into the blind guy and he's like, "Fuck it, let's go fight. Let's go do it without him. Screw it." Donnie Yen. And she's like, "Yeah, well, I'm not sure 4 people are enough. You, me, and, your gun buddy, and then some other asshole, and, or the pilot." And the gun guy is like, "How many do we need?" And she's like, what do you mean? She looks around, and then behind them is fucking Cassian, and he's got a whole bunch of motherfuckers with him, all of his buddies. And they're all like, we're with you, baby. And Cassian is like, yeah, see, she's like, yeah, thanks for all your help in there, asshole. You know, you were there. Fuck you. And he's like, I just knew they wouldn't believe you. But I believe you. So let's fight. Let's do it. Just us. You know, there's like 20 of us. We can do it. And they're like, all right, fuck it. Let's go. Let's go in secret and fucking go steal these Death Star plans without the permission of the Alliance. And everybody leaves and they go to get on the ship. Everybody leaves, and behind them all is the droid, K2. And he's looking at Jin, and he looks at her and he goes, Jin, I'll be there for you. I will. And she's looking at him like, wow, that's cool, because you've been a fucking piece of shit to me this whole time. And he goes, because Cassian said I have to. So then it cuts to them leaving, and they're all in the ship, okay? All 20 of them are in this little stolen fucking shuttle. And then Jin looks around at all of them, and they're all like scared looking and shit, and she just goes, may the Force be with us. And they're all like, yeah, okay. The blind guy's like, yeah, Force, baby. So they're about to take off, and then you got the Rebel Alliance fucking getting on the radio going, hey, you're taking the shuttle. What the fuck are you doing? You know, you're leaving. There is no clearance for anyone leaving right now. So who the hell are you? What's your call sign for this ship? Okay. The pilot Bodhi is talking to him. He's like, yeah, you know, it's cool. We are scheduled to leave. Maybe you just didn't get the notice yet. You know, and he's like, yeah, you're not in my records. I need the call sign for this ship. What's your call sign? And then Jin is like, say something, asshole. And then he's just like, Rogue One? And then the guy's like, Rogue One? I don't have a Rogue One on my manifest. And then Jin's just like, fucking go. And then they leave. So that's their name, Rogue One.
All right.
Bail Organa is talking to the redheaded lady, and she's like, you know, we're going to need some help. I think you might need to talk to your old friend. And he's like, my old Jedi friend. Yeah, I haven't talked to him in years. He's on some weird desert planet. They're talking about Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, once we, you know, if anybody actually got those plans or something, we need somebody we could really trust to deliver them. And she's like, yeah, you'd need somebody you really trust. And he's like, I trust her with my life. So it's like, oh, he's talking about Leia.
Yeah.
That's his daughter, his adopted daughter. So they're flying into this archive base, all right, that's on some weird tropical planet. This tropical planet is all the previews that, you know, all the scenes that you saw in the preview where it's all like beaches and fucking blue water and everything and palm trees.
Yeah. This
is where the Empire keeps their complete archives of everything that's ever happened in the Empire. And it's all stored in one giant tower. Mm-hmm. So Bodhi, being an old Imperial pilot, he's able to get them past the security with his old codes and shit. They get through the gate, which is remarkably similar to the fucking shield around the planet in Spaceballs. There is a visible shield around the entire planet, and there is one small section that is a gate that opens up and shuts. Okay?
Okay.
It's guarded by a whole bunch of fucking Star Destroyers and everything. So they get through. As they're getting through and they're landing, Jin looks around, she sees everybody scared, and she gives a speech about fucking taking chances and shit. You know, we're just going to take chances. We're going to keep taking them until either we succeed or we fucking run out of chances, assholes. All right? This is what we have decided to do. She was just like, stupid little fucking, you know, I don't want to get involved, fucking street rat. And now she's like, giving speeches.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's amazing. I've got the same combination on my luggage. What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken?
Prepare ship.
Prepare ship.
I just got that. Never noticed it all those years. Didn't care.
The Colonel Sanders thing?
Colonel Sanders chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who the fuck was Colonel Sanders?
Prepare ship. Prepare ship for ludicrous speed.
Yeah, okay.
His name the whole movie long was Colonel Sanders.
Right.
Because of that. For that one joke. That happened like halfway through the movie.
Fucking Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks is a fucking genius. So as they're about to get out of the ship, Cassian, he starts giving out orders, and he's like, yeah, okay. Me and Jin and the fucking android are going to go and try to get the plans for the Death Star out of the archives. While that's happening, all you other assholes, okay, you guys are going to go and fucking, like, start shooting shit and causing a diversion. And y'all got to get them troopers away from us, guys. And everybody's like, yeah, okay. And the blind guy's like, let's fight! He turns to the pilot and he's like, look, man, Bodhi, you are our only way out of here, man. So you better keep the engine running. And he's like, yeah, I got it. So as they land, the Empire is like, yeah, we still don't really know who you are, so prepare for inspection. So then some stormtroopers and then an officer walks on board. I guess they take them out and shit. We don't get that. You know, we don't get a shot of that. Mm-hmm. We just see them getting dragged across the floor. And now Jin and Cassian have stolen their uniforms. Those are the guys that stole our uniforms. And kicked the shit out of us, too. So they walk by all the rest of the fucking troopers. The disguise works, and they get into the elevator. As the elevator is about to close, the droid, K2, just says, I've got a bad feeling about... And then Jin goes, quiet! Every Star Wars fan knows the significance of that. Then we see a shot of Krennic arriving on the planet because he knows some bad shit's about to go down. And then it cuts back to Cassian, and he's looking at the droid, and he's like, hey, we need a map, okay? And the droid's like, well, I'm sure there's one laying around somewhere. And he's like, no, you know what you have to do. And then it shows the blind dude and his gun friend, and they're fucking killing troopers and shit, and everybody's getting into position, okay? And then it just cuts to the fucking droid with another droid in his arms, and he has got a fucking RoboCop spike coming out of his fucking arm and into the back of this droid's head. And that's how he's taking the map to the facility.
Okay.
And then he sits there and he computes for a second, and he's like, okay, by my computations, the looks of this map, there are at least 89 fucking stormtroopers in our way to what we want to do. So we will make it approximately 33% of the way there before we get killed. But fuck it, they're going anyway. So Cassian gets on the radio to the blind guy, and he's like, now, do it now. All those guys that have gotten in position, they all set their bombs off and everything. And now Krennic is up in the control room of the fucking tower, and he looks out onto this beautiful fucking beach with all this fucking awesome tropical water and palm trees all around it and everything. And there's this base laying out on all the beaches and shit, and then all these fucking explosions start going off in the distance and shit. And everybody's just looking at it like, what? And then Krennic is like, God damn it, what are you fucking blind? Send out the garrison! Go! So now they're all fucking... Stormtroopers are running around, they're all fucking starting to fight and shit. Laser guns are firing. Then the Alliance finds out, from some communication, what Jin and Cassian are doing. And they're like, holy shit, they fucking went anyway? And now the redheaded lady is like looking at the people that were saying no, and she's like, yeah, bitches. Now we got to help them anyway. So like, fuck it, let's do it. Send the forces out. So then they send a whole bunch of fucking ships and everything. They all go into hyperspace, and they immediately come out. So it's like they're there instantaneously. So now there's this huge fucking aerial battle going on above the planet just outside of the gate. And they're like, fuck it, send some fucking X-Wings down into that gate, okay? And when they were like sending all the troops out from the fucking rebel base and shit, we did get another cameo. Okay, while they're doing that, and everybody's running to their ships and shit. And we see fucking R2-D2 and C-3PO. And they're like looking around, like, what's going on? Okay, and 3PO is like, they're going to the fucking archive? Why does no one tell me anything, R2? It was fun to see him again, but whatever, we see them shits all the time. Then we cut to fucking General Tarkin, okay? And he's like, fuck it. All this shit's going on. Let's go there to go to hyperspace. And you know what? Tell Vader what's going on. All right? So he can get his ass over here. So back on that planet, which is called Scarif, the rebels are fucking fighting. They're doing pretty good against all these fucking stormtroopers and shit. And then the big motherfucking AT fucking walkers show up. Those big 4-legged dog-looking motherfuckers.
Yeah.
All right, man, there's like 5 or 6 of them.
Wow.
And they just fucking show up and start shooting at everybody. Everybody's freaking out. That's when the rebels start losing. Okay? The big gun friend of the blind guy's like, fuck this! Pulls out a fucking bazooka, fires it at the head of one of those fuckers, and it fucking, it goes off right like at the side of its head. And its head moves to the side like it's a dog
Yeah.
or something, you know? And then he's like, yeah, I think I got it. And then the head just like, shoot, goes back and starts fucking shooting at him and everything. So they're all running. And then a few X-Wings made it through the gate before it closed. A couple X-Wings did not. And they got crashed on the gate. I find out now that a couple of the X-Wing fighters were actually also digitally recreated, just like Tarkin. They're the same guys, you know, from the pilot cockpits from the first movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One gets killed. His name was Red 5, and his designation was then later given to Luke, who was Red
wow.
5. Then it cuts to Jyn, and she ends up handing a blaster to the droid K2. And he's like looking at her in shock. And she's like, well, what the fuck? You know, you wanted one, didn't you? And he's like, your actions continue to surprise me, Jyn. And she's like, yeah, let's go, let's go. So they figure out that they're trapped. The gate is closed now, and they're going to have to blow a fucking hole in the planet's shield in order to broadcast the fucking plans up to the Alliance.
Right.
Okay? There's like, we're all probably going to die here, so at least we can fucking transmit it to them. Because initially they wanted to grab the fucking plans and then take it to them physically so that they could survive.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of become a suicide mission for all they know. And at least they can send the plans to them if they blow a hole in the fucking shield. So Cassian gets on the radio with Bodhi, and he's like, yo, motherfucker, this is what we have to do. We're going to have to blow a hole in the shield. Somebody else is going to have to do that, but you're going to have to broadcast the plans. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. I can do that. But not until I get connected to the, the fucking comms network. Okay? We're going to have to run a cable and shit, and we're going to have to flip the master switch or whatever, and then I can get connected, and then I can do it. So he's like, fucking do what you got to do, God damn it. And Bodhi goes to fucking do this. All right? So then the X-Wings that made it through the gate, they start helping, and they're fucking blowing away these fucking AT-ATs walking around, fucking flying by. There's other ships flying by with like dudes in the back of them, and they're just shooting the fucking knees of these AT-ATs with blasters and shit, and they're fucking taking them out, dude. They're doing a really good job, okay? Fucking holding their own at this fucking Imperial base. So then the droid and Cassian and Jyn, now they're in the archives, all right? And they're going to get the plans and everything. And the droid is like staying in the control room while the other two go into the actual archives, which is just a giant fucking tower of what looks like fucking computer servers or whatever, all right? And they got to use like these robot arms to go and retrieve the right tape that they want, but they don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
At that point, we cut to the big fucking space fight happening over the planet and shit, and then all of a sudden, all of these fucking TIE fighters fucking swarm out of these fucking Star Destroyers, okay? This is the most TIE fighters you've ever seen in any Star Wars movie ever.
Yeah.
They come out in a fucking swarm, all right? The X-Wings are fucking, they're still trying to probe the shield for weaknesses, which means they're like shooting at it and shit. It's kind of useless. And then the TIE fighters just fucking start killing them, all right? Fucking TIE fighters, badass motherfuckers, in these later movies anyway. The droid is in the control room, K2. Other troopers keep fucking running in there, and he just like keeps fucking shooting them with his blaster, all right? He's like finally able to kill humans. Kill all humans! Back in the archives, then we see Cassian and Jyn, and they're like looking through all the names of shit, and Jyn is like, okay, this, that, blah, blah, blah. The only other one I remember is Black Saber. She was like, okay, then there's Black Saber, and then there's Stardust. Stardust! That's it!
Yeah, there you go.
That's the one. So she figures out that that's the one they want. They decide to get it. Okay, now K2, who is out there fucking fighting off all these troopers, is starting to lose a little ground in the fight, okay? More troopers are coming in. They're fucking shooting him and shit. And he gets on the radio with them, and he's like, you know what? Fucking climb. You got to do it. You got to get up there. You got to get that fucking tape. And if you keep climbing to the top of the tower, you can broadcast it from there, okay? Now go. I'm about to lock you assholes in there, all right? This is my last fucking transmission. I'm about to fucking die. Good luck, assholes. And then they're like, what the fuck? And then he fucking gets shot. And as he gets shot, he fucking slams his hands down on the control console, and that just locks the fucking doors to the archives. So the troopers can't get in there to get him.
Okay.
And then K2 dies.
Oh.
Yeah, that sucks. Because he was fucking badass. I would say that K2 was the heart and soul of this movie. And oddly enough, he was the most human connection that we, the audience, have to it.
Yeah.
Weird, huh? So then it cuts to outside, and Bodhi is pulling cable. He's pulling an actual physical cable. Something we've never seen in Star Wars, okay? Everything's done on computers. Pulling a fucking cable across this battlefield and shit. And, new enemy fighters, these new fucking TIE fighter looking things come in. They kind of look like a cross between a TIE fighter and then those weird speeders that they had on Hoth that Luke was piloting when he took down the AT-AT with the cable around its legs.
Yeah.
They kind of look like that, but they got the weird, like, panels on the top of it. It's fucking weird. I don't know. Anyway, then there's fucking more black shock troopers coming out, and they're killing all the rebels and shit. Jin, inside the archives, is like, fuck this. She shoots the fucking window. They jump through it, and then they have to jump across this giant fucking chasm, because there's always got to be a chasm somewhere. Somebody's got to get across. In a Star Wars movie. They jump across it, and now they're just climbing up the fucking big tower of data tapes. Krennic shows up. And he's got his troopers with him, and they're shooting at him and shit. And then it cuts to the blind dude. And they're all like, oh my god, where's the master switch? Where is it? It's out on that console out there. In the middle of the fucking battlefield. This one asshole is like, I'm gonna go and get it. He runs out and immediately gets killed. Okay? And then the blind dude just starts chanting this thing that he's kind of been chanting a little bit throughout the movie and shit. And he's just like... I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. And his gun friend is like, what are you doing, man? And then the guy he's still chanting this shit, and he just walks out. He's blind, walks out into the middle of this fucking fiery fucking laser battlefield and shit. Everything's exploding around him. He's not getting hit. He walks right up to the fucking console, flips the fucking switch, connects the communications between Bodhi and the fucking Alliance. And then he's like, yeah, fuck it. I did it. Shit. And then this other fucking trooper comes up and he sets off some fucking hand grenade. It blows up. And then the blind dude flies to the side and shit. He is, of course, also not dead until his gun friend comes and gets him in his arms so that he can say his last words, which is, yeah, go ahead. I did it. Go and you gotta carry on the fight, baby. Then the gun guy is like, yeah, I gotcha. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. And then the blind dude is like, yeah, I'll always be with you in the Force. And then he dies. So then we cut to the space battle that's happening above the planet, and it is getting worse, okay? And then at one point, the Alliance actually fires... Some fucking X-Wings are flying over one of these Star Destroyers, and they drop some fucking torpedoes on it or something. They end up fucking totally disabling it, and it's just like, floating in space... Fucking Star Destroyer, okay? So Bodhi makes it on the comms, and he's talking to the Alliance, which is another fucking fish-eyed alien dude in charge on the ship. It's not the same guy from the other movies, but it's another one, okay? And he's like, you got to do it. Okay, we're going to transmit you the fucking plans for the Death Star, okay? And you got to take them. You got to get them back to the Alliance. And then... you got to fucking blow a hole in the shield so we can do that, okay? So we can send you the plans. And then that guy is like, the fish-eyed dude is like, yeah, okay, we got it. We're on it, Rogue One. It's a very powerful moment in the movie, okay? And then that guy, the fish-eyed dude, he looks at his other underlings and he's like, call a Hammerhead Corvette. I've got a plan. And if you guys don't remember, a Corvette in the Star Wars universe is the ship, the very first ship that we saw in the very first movie. The one that the Star Destroyer is chasing that had Princess Leia on it. They call that a Corvette. So he calls a Hammerhead Corvette. It's got a big, bulkhead fucking shieldy fucking front end on it. So they call it, and it just fucking rams into this dead Star Destroyer that's floating around, okay? And they lock onto it, and they're just fucking pushing it. They're firing their thrusters as fucking hard as they can go, all right? And they're just basically a huge fucking tugboat in space. And they're pushing it, and they push it, and they push it, and they push it into the other fucking Star Destroyer that is right next to it. And they both collide. It's this big fucking explosion in space and shit. And then what happens? They start fucking falling towards the shield gate. Jyn makes it to the top of the fucking archive tower, okay? And right above her is a fucking trapdoor that keeps opening and closing. Like some fucking sci-fi fucking Star Trek bullshit that's written into the story for no reason. Like if she times it wrong, she'll get cut in half by the door.
Yeah.
There's no reason for this door to be doing this, okay? But you know what? There's always got to be something like that in Star Wars, so I immediately forgave it. Okay? So she has to climb up. She's got the tape hanging off of her belt. At some point, they were climbing past Krennic and his stormtroopers. They ended up hitting Cassian. Cassian falls, presumably to his death. He hits a couple of fucking bulkheads on his way down, and he's probably pretty broken by the time he hits the floor of this this chasm. He hits some gangway that you can walk on. He didn't fall all the way down, so he's probably not dead. Anyway, she keeps going. She makes it to the top, gets through that weird trap door. Okay, and now she's on top of the fucking tower where there's a giant satellite dish, and she can put this tape into the machine and then broadcast it. She's just waiting for the fucking shield to have a hole in it. Krennic shows up behind her. He's got a gun on her, and he's like, "Bitch, fucking, you're not taking me down." She's like, "I already broadcasted the plans. You're fucked." And he's like, "Yeah, well, fuck you. I'm going to kill you anyway, you bitch." And then all of a sudden he gets shot in the chest from behind. And he falls down. And then there's Cassian standing there behind him. And he's limping around. Like he just made it. I don't know how he made it through that fucking opening and closing trap door. But he did. So then the Alliance is like, "Holy shit, we're getting the plans. We're getting the plans from the fucking Death Star," because the fucking Star Destroyers crashed through the fucking gate. They fucking destroyed the shield and shit. So she transmitted everything. The Alliance is like, "Yeah, she did it. We're getting a transmission from the planet, sir. It's the Death Star plans. Yeah, that's cool." The fisheye guy is like, "Yeah, that's cool. We're getting it. It's awesome." And then all of a sudden, they're like, "A large object is emerging from hyperspace." And it's a fucking Death Star. Shows up over the fucking planet. And it's like, fucking Tarkin is like, "Target the base. Target the whole fucking Imperial base. I know we got a bunch of our own guys there on it, but you know what? Fuck it. Kill them all so that we can wipe this shit out and stop this security breach. Just another single reactor emission will do, just like we did on Jeddah." So they're not going to blow up the planet. They're just going to set off this huge explosion, okay?
Okay.
And he's like, "You know what? Fire when ready." And then the fucking Death Star fires, okay? And we see Bodhi in Rogue One, okay? He's the only one left in there. And he's already done his job of telling the Alliance that the plans were coming. They've already gotten the plans. And this fucking stormtrooper throws a fucking grenade into the ship, into the back cargo bay door. Bodhi turns around and sees it. There's no time to run and kick it out of the ship or anything, and he just fucking does that thing where he just looks, and he knows he's gonna die. And then it fucking blows up, and Rogue One, the ship, is destroyed.
Oh.
In the distance, everybody sees it go up. And then the fisheye dude up in the Alliance above the planet, he just says, "Rogue One, may the Force be with you." So then he's like, "Fuck it, we got the plans. Let's get the fuck out of here. Everybody, jump, emerge into, get into hyperspace. Let's go back to the Alliance. Go back to Yavin 4. And then all of a sudden, out of hyperspace emerges another fucking Star Destroyer. This is, of course, is Darth Vader's Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
So he shows up, and he shows up right in front of where all of these fucking rebel ships were going into hyperspace. So they go into hyperspace and they just immediately fly into his Death Star and just go to their deaths. It's really a fucking cool shot, man. He just blocks all of these assholes from escaping. Okay? Everybody fucking explodes and shit. The main flagship that the fisheye dude was on fucking gets taken out, and it's not blown up, but it's disabled, and it's not going anywhere, baby. So those plans, Vader's about to fucking take care of this shit, all right? So then it cuts back to the planet, all right? Now remember, the Death Star just fired at the base, and in the distance, there's Jyn and Cassian, and they're standing out on a beach, okay? And they're looking off in the distance at the base, and they see it explode, and it's the same size explosion that happened on that other planet, Jedha, earlier. And they're just waiting, and they're just standing there fucking watching this big, giant fucking wave of fire fucking heading towards them. It's a couple of miles away, okay, but it's coming. And then they just fucking look at each other, and they're fucking looking into each other's eyes and shit. And then they fucking embrace, okay? And they're holding each other, and then they just fucking hold onto each other fucking tightly. And then that wall of fire fucking comes and just fucking consumes them.
Oh.
Jyn and fucking Cassian, the two fucking main character heroes of the movie, fucking die right then and there.
Yeah.
It was fucking beautiful, you guys. So then we cut to those rebels that are still left in that flagship that is disabled, okay? And they take the fucking Death Star plans and they copy them onto a disc. All right, and they're like, we got to get this out of here. We got to get this out of here. Go, 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 go. And all these guys, they're all wearing those weird white helmets with the points in the back of them, like in the first movie, okay, in the hallway that were fighting Darth Vader and his stormtroopers. And they're fucking passing it to each other, and they're passing it down this hallway. And then all of a sudden, in this fucking white hallway, in this ship, all the fucking power goes out.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck's going on? And then they look down the hallway, and in the fucking darkness, there's this fucking explosion, okay? And it's still dark, all right? And then you just see all the smoke and shit, and they're all just like standing there looking down the hallway into this fucking dark end of the hallway, and it's completely fucking pitch black. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the hallway, this fucking red lightsaber ignites, and it's just Darth Vader. You guys, it is only Darth Vader. Yeah. He is not walking into that ship with any fucking stormtroopers firing fucking blasters or anything. It is only Darth Vader, and he's just fucking coming in to take care of business. All right? There's fucking like 50 fucking Alliance fucking troopers in this fucking hallway, all start fucking shooting at him, and he just like starts fucking walking towards them, and he deflects every last one of their fucking blaster bolts with his lightsaber, okay? And here's the thing, guys. I was almost expecting some like weird acrobatic shit, like some like really serious shit from fucking Darth Vader. But you know what? He still played it just like he did in the first movie. He's just like a big, kind of stiff-looking bad guy walking around, you know? And like, I was expecting him to be flipping around and shit. Yeah. He didn't do any of that, you guys. He acted just like he did in the first movie. He just deflected all their bolts because that's how badass he is. All right? All their bolts got deflected back at him. He's fucking doing that at the same time. He raises his fucking hand up and he's fucking throwing motherfuckers against the ceiling with the force and everything. Yeah. Fucking choking them all out. And he is just mowing through these assholes in this hallway, okay? But just ahead of his fucking carnage is the data tape being passed forward and forward, given to another guy. And then at the end of the hallway, okay, there's a door that is stuck shut, all right? It's actually stuck open like a few inches. And the guy with the tape is like, let me out, man. And on the other side of the door is a guy, he's trying to get the door open so his buddy can come out with the tape. Darth Vader fucking makes it to the end of the hallway. He's about to kill this motherfucker. And then the guy's just like, oh yeah, okay, here's what I'll do. And he just passes the tape through the opening. He's like, I'm about to die. Take this, dude. The dude takes it. And then fucking Darth Vader fucking slashes him with his fucking lightsaber. The guy finally gets the door open. By that time, the tape has already made it past him. And Darth Vader's fucking slashing everybody with his fucking red lightsaber down this fucking hallway, just mowing through these motherfuckers. And then the last guy that gets the tape, he's like, go, 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 go. The other guys are like, fucking go, we got to get this out of here. He jumps down this fucking escape hatch, right? And then this other dude is like, launch now. And an escape vehicle from this big flagship that was disabled now launches. And it is the Corvette from the first movie. Okay?
Wow.
And it drops out of the bottom of the flagship and it jumps into hyperspace.
Wow.
All right.
Now, as this is happening, fucking just as it launches off, Darth Vader fucking makes it out to the launching platform. And he's like standing out there as it's launching away. And he's got his fucking hand in the air and his fucking lightsaber. And he's just like, God damn it. Like he was almost fucking there. All right. And they just fucking escaped his grasp. And they ain't gonna fucking get far because he is fucking serious. He is pissed. All right. He's fucking standing out there waving his fist at him and shit. So now it cuts to on the Corvette, and there's this guy, and he's got the data tape in his hand, and he's walking through hallways, all those same white hallways that we saw in the first movie, and he walks into this room, okay? And he's like, he walks in, and then we see this figure in this room, okay? We see it from behind, and it's a white-robed figure. And we're like, wait a minute, that looks a little familiar. And then he goes, Your Highness! This was just given to us from the rebels, okay? And it needs to get back to the Alliance. And then he holds it out, and then the figure turns around, and it is Princess Leia. It is a digital recreation of
Jesus.
fucking Princess Leia. It is absolutely perfect looking, okay? And she just turns around and takes the tape. And then the guy is like, what could be so important? What have they just given us? And then she just looks at him and goes, hope. And that is her one line in the movie. And then we dun 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 cut to credits.
Holy shit.
That's it, baby. That was Rogue One.
That is amazing.
I fucking loved this movie, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Dude, this fucking shit rocked. This was so much better than The Force Awakens. Holy shit. It was like nothing but excitement, you guys. Fuck.
Oh, man.
Nobody's going to make a movie that big where you got the freedom to kill everybody. That'll never happen ever again.
At this point, okay, this movie ends anywhere from a few days to a few weeks or so until the new one starts. So to be honest, we really probably could have another movie in between these two. And in the, the age of trilogies that we live in, who knows?
God.
Who knows? But what I loved about the fucking Darth Vader shit, you guys, was that he didn't act any differently than he did in the first movie when we first saw him. Just this big, stiff, bad, black, fucking suited motherfucker walking down this hallway.
Yeah.
I loved it that he was still fucking stiff and shit. Guys, I loved it. I loved it that they didn't fucking make him all wacky and fucking ninja looking or anything like that. They fucking kept to the format. This movie blended fucking perfectly with the first one. I loved it, you guys.
Holy shit.
You know what? Let's all fucking go see this movie again tomorrow. I don't give a shit. You guys need to see this shit.
Yeah, I do.
All
For
right.
sure.
This fucking director, I'm sorry, he raised the bar. Everybody else who is ever making any more fucking Star Wars movies better fucking take a page out of his book. Because this was so gritty and fucking real. It makes all the other fucking movies, the fucking prequel trilogy, this fucking Force Awakens shit, it puts them all to shame, guys. It really fucking does.
Yeah.
And it captures the fucking heart and the grit and the fucking soul of the original. It really does. And I loved every second. It didn't go all crazy with the gimmicks, because that's where I think The Force Awakens really suffered was gimmicks. Like we saw the fucking blaster bolt being frozen, and then we saw that one fucking stormtrooper who was using his fucking melee weapon and shit, and everybody was so ooh and ah over those cool visuals. Like everybody forgot, like, oh, this is just a fucking remake. It's a remake crossed with the fucking bullshit of the first movies. Like, let's do some big scenery with weird characters, like that fucking bar owner from The Force Awakens, with the weird goggles and shit. Who gives a shit about that shit? You know, but J.J. Abrams is like, oh, she's going to be a big character. She's going to, that's how how she gets the lightsaber and everything. Man, the last two movies in that new trilogy, they better get real dark real quick. Because so far, Rogue One puts that shit to shame. I am serious. You will see what I mean.
I'm excited.
You're gonna love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, Merry Christmas, and there you have it. Rogue One on Movies with Ron.
Yeah, what a Christmas episode.
Hell yeah.
It's a good one. Good choice.
Make sure and leave us a rating and review. Hit subscribe. Add us to your favorites. And,
Check us out on Twitter
yeah,
and Facebook.
Instagram. Hey, McLean, say hi to my brother Vito. Merry Christmas.
And may the Force be with you.
Movies with Ron.
Rick, I might need you to drive me home. But it's cool because it's a right-handed truck.
Awesome.